And a little bit later, Claude writing in code. What I was kind of thinking, inspired by the script of my video. Think about this process, guys. A dumbass speculates, a smart mind builds on it. And we get code after code after code. Not only that, it already made actually started with the Gates idea. It's already building on the idea of gamma gating the theta. In the thoughts, if anybody pauses, it was thinking that, hey, this has been seen on monkeys. It's figuring right now how to do this system that I was kind of like, so I was thinking we have a theta world model, we have a gamma that brings the sharpness to it, inspired by the Gabor system. And it turns out the visual cortex works with these Gabor waves. Where does this lead? Of course, the image is so complicated. Like, if you really start to think about brain, if you really go to the neurotransmitters, all that, I mean, God. But the process, it's mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing. And this is with the lobotomized Opus 4.8 model. What if we had even Fable? I know for a fact that Fable was working on higher level than Opus. Some of this work actually came from Fable. But now Fable it was not allowed to think about biology, so I had to talk about when I was talking of the geometric neurons, I had to talk of them as units, so I had to kind of like, okay, these are units, and that kind of got hard. But now, Mythos is better than Fable. But at the same time, in-house in Anthorfic, they have already Mythos too. So here we are, 3 generations behind, getting this sort of stuff. Mythos 2. What if I was doing this with Mythos 2? First of all, like, what I find kind of like most addicting here is like I used to read Scientific American as a young person and so forth, and very little of it got stuck into my head. But this, thoughts of Opus. So I was talking about virtual reality. I was talking about this. Like, one thing what I'm kind of pushing is uh, I had the thing that I showed you guys where we had the kind of the internal thing. I was thinking this would be kind of the theta model. It turns out that the gamma ideas weren't integrated into this code, so I'm now Opus is building the gamma idea better. But what I was thinking here is the depth. There was the as I was moving, the trained model was moving, and I was thinking kind of like in computer science, we are trying to build 3-dimensional models like the world. Okay, we need the 3-dimensional model. It has to be 3 dimensions. We must know how far that wall is and all that. Does our brain do that? I don't think it does that. So if the brain is working with these Gabor things and with these sorts of ideas, the world model that we have, it doesn't have to be actual 3-dimensional world model. But at the same time, inside computers, we are building 3-dimensional world models, which makes the problem of visual qualia. Claude hates that word. Claude hates word qualia because qualia means the experience of being. Like, but when I'm saying visual qualia is the visual world from within. Of course, then there is many different kinds of qualia. There is audio qualia. There is you see a face that links directly to the right temple, which actually has a face part that recognizes faces. With me, that's damaged, and because of that, I kind of feel like from early on, from childhood on, I never kind of looked at faces too much because somehow it made me feel bad. Probably, who knows? Was stressing a part of my brain that already had been shitty from the start. But so qualia is all of the brain together. And now that I'm just rambling once more, so of course there are these parts of the brain that take all of these different signals. I think parietal lobes that kind of like weave them together, and that's perhaps, well, is it here or is it there? That's the binding problem. So where are we? What is this thing? I don't know. But so we had already we had Mrs. Grace Hopper, one of the foundational people into computer science. So we had this gate thing. Claude was thinking of the gate thing earlier, and now it's building this theta gamma model, and it had these complex ideas. And here, as you guys see, it just did something. We have Saccade agreement demo. Well, let's download this. So prompt by prompt, we are doing some completely and utterly mind-blowing, insane stuff. But okay, so let's look at this Saccade agreement stuff. So this actually, the Saccades is already at the repo under this plat. There's now the Saccades. But so what I'm trying headed here is I am trying to refine the model further, and of course I'm not doing jack shit. It's, well, won't you look at that? We have no clue what it was doing because I did not really read its thing. Well, I actually kind of have a clue. So the idea was that if you have a theta model that's blurry, the world model, and then there's the reality coming in through the gamma frequencies, and as Claude was there thinking that I kind of briefly read something about monkey, and so some people sadly are doing animal tests, so they know that animal visual cortex, if we find that. And we had, of course, I'm gonna release this stuff, but if you go monkey, and there's one published handle for the directionality that's better than I expected. In monkey cortex, gamma synchronization tracks feed forward, bottom up, signaling, and the slower alpha beta band tracks feedback top down. The directed signaling work from one Kerkole Bastos price, that's your split with an arrow on it. Okay, so gamma is the world coming in, slower rhythms are the model going down. So there is a loop. The direction you've been asserting has real empirical traction. What doesn't license is the qualia layer on top. The agreement is the experience stays in the bedroller. So Opus is really, it's really conservative. It does not want to go too far, which is really good. It's really good that it does that. Keeps me grounded, but and I think, well, we can just leave it at that. But so here, what I think was happening was the surprise. So if we have a world model that's in the brain, so you are awake, you have learned to see the world, your brain has built this world model that's on lower frequencies, and then there's the thing coming through the eyes, and then we have the saccades. The eye is constantly scanning. Why is it scanning? What is it doing? It's looking for surprise. Something happened there. Oh, what happened there? I automatically darts between places. So that's what the surprise here is. And this is all about saccades and novelty. And I really have to. Kind of interesting. Why is the thing wrong way? But I guess I should read whatever hell it's doing. But let's see. So we are here. What else? There was a so we had saccade agreement. We have saccade novelty. So same thing. Did I just? Okay. So here. So here we have the. So here we have blurry world model. So and then we have the hiding. So the eye is scanning for the looking for the sharpness. So we have a health perceived, and then we have the stitch. So this would be kind of like qualia. Kist plus accumulate detail. Agreement buffer alone. So this would be kind of the current perhaps. But yeah, so this is what I'm thinking about this morning, and the mind-blowing thing earlier was that the 31 megabyte model was doing what looked like three-dimensional modeling, but it's kind of like, what would you call that? It's fake. But perhaps our three-dimensional model that we live in is fake. Meanwhile, people are trying to build these actual three-dimensional models where everything is known, where it is the like the what kind of comes close to all of this mathematics is the splatting when we had the well, let's just go there. So I'm rambling this morning, so some gates in my brain are not working very well, but I wonder if we could Gaussian splatting. So I'm thinking, do I have to start another code or will it work? Oh, let's see. Actually, yeah, because I'm just running the. Actually, I can just show it to you how it can work. So let's see. I'm just gonna use Unreal Engine to show you guys. And somewhere here I have a. Let's see. I actually made a small game that uses Gaussian splatting data. So if this is kind of like our world model, but like of course we are always in the center, so we are always in the center of the world model. It gets updated on the external bits, but what people are trying to do is they're trying to build a world model that doesn't break. But this sort of idea, it breaks. The world model is built, but if people want world model that doesn't break, of course that world model is the actual world, the actual physical world, but perhaps we live inside something like this. And when we see glitches in the world, when your brain doesn't have oxygen after a bicycle trip, or when you have too little natrium, or you're taking epilepsy medications, when you're seeing glitches like that, that's your brain kind of showing the actual reality that, hey, well, that's how things actually are. But so that's where we kind of are getting at, and that's what we're kind of exploring here. And I was playing Civilization, and what's mind blowing here is like this system. This is now 3 years old Gaussian splatting. Of course, we are running it inside a game engine, but the idea is that we are not modeling the world in exact 3 dimensions. We have this kind of like very frail model. We are a model inside a universe, and some people then start to think of all sorts of simulation theory and so forth and whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I will put stuff in this. Let's see. I think I will put stuff into the repo if I feel like I have to update it, or I'll just I may upload this ramble or not. One of the reasons why I do this less is because like my brain is perhaps not super great, and my throat is suddenly not very good, very good. But I noticed that 24 about this kind of like when I was doing a lot of this stuff, and then perhaps there was some sort of event where after that I can have been perhaps a less coherent a little bit. Another thing is that without knowing, I was 6 years on Lyrica, pregabalin. I was basically high, and there's been this kind of a transition this spring out of that because I quit that medication, and so continuing a little bit. So we got code didn't occur that we could run it. Here is kind of like Gemini's take on what we just did. Anyone wants to stop the screen? Go ahead. So we were here. I think the problem is this is gonna expect a model as asked before. Does this expect a model? Okay, so this does not need model, but it has a fallback. So it does have a model. Okay, so we can run it with model. So let's put the face model there. Of course, ideally, what we would do is we would have the let's see, I have to think a little while. So this is where the model is right now. We would have a world model. So we would train the model not just on faces. We would have a model that's trained on the world. Anyone wants to go ahead and do it. Go ahead. Have a blast. So now we have the model. So we just have to give it a model and just change that end a little bit there. And what was that? Model.pt because it's in the. So now what there was and we have webcam, so I have to kill that. So first time ever, guys, you are going to see what this gate thing that Claude did with some very complex thinking, but it's based on that, I guess. Theta is the world model. Gamma brings in the gist, and there are gates, perhaps. So it's a surprise. It's trying to update the kind of like eye darting. It's trying to see. Okay, we have a splat generator missing, which we have to bring from. We have to bring from here. So these distributed files, they are holding classes from like there is this. I don't know. We have a weird problem. So I guess because we have to give it the 512, so it uses the how did that go? I do not remember. Let's go to the thing. So we have to give the how many fields it has. It has so because this it's using wave fields, bunch of wave fields. The amount of them must be exact according to how the model worked. So packets, non-packets. So we have to. It must match the model. So and what would that be in the brain? Well, that gets complex. Okay, and we have a problem with the. So we have to also give the. Actually, wonder what that was. Was it 512 or? Okay, so we're using the old model. Is not playing. And let's say the code is not playing ball. But this is the reason why I don't talk too much these days. Kind of like paying attention, talking at the same time. It's not. I'm not the greatest multitasker anymore. There was a time. At one point, I was making mistakes with words, so I was like intending to use a word, and then I used another word. Lately, much less, but. Okay, so we have to go and change the code a little bit. So it was light agreement cortex. And I think it was 64 here somewhere. No, let's see. And here we see actually Gemini being lazy. It's saying somewhere. It probably looks like it should know. I just gave it the code. I hate that. It's supposedly pro extended model and nope. So it doesn't look the code, so it doesn't know what we are doing actually. The problem is that we have two codes, and the new code does not take that. It doesn't take that. That's the problem actually. I guess we have to waste some precious cloud time here. Okay, we are using. I don't have credit, so nope. We have a problem. Two codes. One have the image size fast, and the command line. This new one does not, so we cannot align the two codes plus the model with the code. So let's see. I think I have to get those. So we have to update the file a little bit. Let's see. second line. So this should pass the argument, this image size, to the next thing, and we have a okay, minus 6040, that's just the thing. So what was the problem? So we have this is somehow not indented, it's not deep enough, so this is this or this the main level in, but somehow this is wrong. Why? Oh, okay, then did it give us the whole? Okay, let's just give me the whole file fixed. So what we're waiting for is to see what Claude was here. I was doing some sort of a. The idea was that we would get the theta model is the world model in the brain, and we get sharper gamma updates, and it somehow would be using kind of like saccades, kind of like what brain is doing. So it's okay. That's kind of odd. I noticed that Gemini has been kind of odd lately. Okay, so here is our code. Let's hope it works. Always dangerous to take code from dumber model. Especially Gemini, it tends often to so-called optimize, but what that usually means is it makes things shittier. So now we are supposed to start the webcam. Wow. Wow. Interestingly, it's kind of fixated on me now. It's seeing me. So this would be kind of a, when the in scintillating scotoma, if something leaks through, it might be like this, I guess. It's keeping a personality, which is pretty incredible. Okay, there it's switched. So this would be kind of like when you hallucinate. But it's interesting that it's trying to hold on to identity. It was trained on 256,000. 256,000 faces, and they were not. I think they were pretty much all from the front, and now because we have the strong backlight, it's not working very well. But and they were kind of interesting is when I'm turning the camera. Oh wow, I'm realizing something. I've been turning my face, but the camera becomes kind of like I, literally. I've been kind of like I have to move my face, but what changes the 3 dimensions, this is actually pretty freaking insane, is turning the camera, not me changing my face, because of course I'm not thinking the camera is the viewpoint here. The camera is the eye, and it's working freaking beautifully. Oh my. And once again, if this was trained on world, then we would see like the world, but so I have an eye, artificial eye in my hand that, wow. But this was based on the idea that there is the theta and we get the gamma updates, and what, hour and a half, I found out that they have found out that monkeys actually have that thing, and this is 35 megabyte model, and it's mind-blowing that it's holding identity. How in the hell is it holding identity? Because it was trained on 256,000 different faces that were not turning. But so, okay, this is what we are doing this morning. I guess I'll put this to the Saccades folder, and I'll link to the, I'll give it some sort of a separate me. So you have to load the face model for this, or of course, if you want to play with flowers, there's the flower model also, or you can go and train your own world model. This is pretty freaking insane. So we are using the similar Gabor filtering as Brain is doing at the visual cortex. That's kind of scary. Man, what if this is actually the scintillating scotoma kind of a thing shining through sometimes? I don't know. But enough speculation. It is a long video. If anybody made it this far, this is probably my second. I hope you guys are well, but I hope you guys are well. Bye.